Hello and welcome back to Gary's Garage. Today we have with us BMW X5M. It's a 2013 model. It's got the big V8 twin turbo. This thing goes like the clappers. Anyway, what we're doing today is we're replacing the emergency or parking brake module. So module lives underneath the car, and it, by pushing a button, turns on the parking brake and turns off the parking brake. So not too difficult a job, but there's some specifics, there's some tricks. So let's get this in the air and get going on it. First thing I'm going to do, the car is on the hoist, but the first thing I'm going to do is go into the trunk, remove this panel on the left side, and if you look in, there's a wire hoop, and it's held in place with a couple of plastic barbs. So I'm just going to try to make this so you can see it, but my hand's probably going to block the way. I'm taking my pliers and just squeeze the barbs together. Hold up the carpet and push down. And I don't know if you saw that, but it's now down. I don't have to do anything further because when I get underneath, I'm just gonna pull on it and it'll just come out, and then we'll reinstall the new one once we get there. We'll just leave this like this. There we go. So the next step is to get the caliper and rotor off. To do that, you need a T18 Torx socket, and they're actually really hard to get to, and considering how tight they are, it's tough. I've got this sort of set up. If you can see, I'm gonna put a power bar on here and hopefully I can do it. Well, it might be difficult for you to see, but I'm going to see if I can do this from here. Man, that's so tight. Oh, I think I felt something. It's fine. There you go. That's one down. Here so you can see, but I've actually gone with less extension. So I was able to get enough turn here. It's just like really not easily accessible. Once it's loose though, it's an integrated washer. There you go. Top one, let's see. So I've got a hook hooked on the upper control arm, and that's taking the weight of the caliper and caliper bracket. And now I can work on getting the rotor off. So I got to get this retaining screw off. Alright, so this is a 6mm, and that's good. This one is turning pretty easy. There we go. I do see rust in there, but we could get lucky, you never know. Yeah, no. Not that lucky. Let's get a hammer. So, hammer and some hearing protection. This is a brass hammer, so I won't be damaging the rotor. Well, 3-pound piece of wood behind the rotor. Maybe it was almost off, it was loose, but you notice I put a bolt there, that way the rotor doesn't fall off and damage the floor or damage the rotor. Okay, next step. Alright, so what I got is a ball type 5mm Allen on the swivel socket, and going above the lower control arm, I can get that in there. So hopefully this isn't too tight, and we'll be able to break it loose here without damaging the screw. Because you can only get a limited amount of force with these ball type. Oh, it's nice and loose. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's what we like to see. And drop the screw and bracket. There we go. So now you should be able to pull this out. Of course, this, that's probably going to be a bit more difficult, but we'll find a way of getting maybe a little pry bar on there so that I can pry it out. And but we have to release the cable on the other side first. So let me position you so you can see. This part's pretty tricky. It's also hard for me to get some light in here so you can see. I've got a screwdriver in there right now, so there is a little sort of spring flap on the top that you have to pull up, and I used a smaller screwdriver, and there's a ball on the end of the cable that does the pulling or actuating, and it's on a couple of little fingers that are oriented this way with the cable going between, and when you go to pull it up, it doesn't want to come. You got to kind of pull it out towards you to get it up over the top. Now I've got this, and then I've got it up, and then I put the longer screwdriver in, so I just have to pull down and it should freely go out the other side. So on the other side I've got my trusty trim tool. I'm gonna quickly move the camera here so that you can see. Pardon me. So in here, and you can see the cable, and I'm gonna try and hook the light here, and then you just get the, there we go. You put your trim tool here, and you can, whoops, pry out the cable. All right, And now that it's pried out, it should come out by pulling on it. You guys can't see, can you? And then while you're pulling, just pry up. I don't know if you can see. You can see in there, but the ball is above the fingers, so it should just come out now. I just have to work on pulling the cable out. I'll do that. Sorry, I can't show you everything. And there it is there. I don't know if I can get the light somewhere where you can see. And I can reach around and then just pull this cable out. And then there you've got the end, the rubber boot which has come off. There we go. That's good. Now we just got to do the other side. Alright, so next thing, now that these cables are loose, and I've done the other side, is to pull this one out of the slot. I probably won't be able to hold the camera and do this at the same time because it needs a little bit of brute force. I think maybe you can get some kind of leverage from the other side to get it out. So sorry about that. So I'm just gonna, I'll see if I can figure it out and then how to manhandle it out or whatever, and then I'll just show you how I did it. Okay, I figured out a way to do it. If you can see in there, so I've taken my power bar, just put it up underneath, and then just pushed up. So once I was able to use two hands, I was able to push it up and free that, and you can see it's just a slot. Where the hell? Oh, there we go. It's just a slot, and yeah, and you just have to slide it up. Alright, so this is the part that somewhat differs from the standard X5, is that we do have to take that electrical connector off, and it's not too difficult as long as you have two hands, as usual. But because this is an X5M, it's got a big sway bar and a couple of hydraulic lines that run back to this. It's something for the sway bar. It's either a decoupler or a variable valve for the sway bar that allows it to ride nice and smooth when you're just putzing along, and then when you put it in sport mode it locks up. So to give you a taut rear sway bar. Anyway, guessing what we're going to need to do is undo the bolts that hold the sway bar mount in and lower this down. We don't have very much that we can get because the exhaust is in the way, but I think that will give us enough that I'll be able to work the handbrake module out. What I may do is unbolt it from the bracket and take the bracket out first and then take the unit out first. So it's going to be a bit of a faff, I think. So the other thing we have to do is the emergency release is this guy right here, and that runs down into the inner fender. And if you remember at the beginning, we decoupled that. Now I could just yank this down and that's pulled out, that's fine. But I got to put it back up. So to do that, you need to take out the fender liner, and of course this car has the big mud flaps. So I have to loosen up the mud flaps. I'm going to leave them attached to the inner fender liner. I think I can just take a few of these plastic fasteners off and I'll be able to pull it out enough to be able to get in there. So I'm going to get that done ahead of time. I'm not going to show you, but I'll show you once it's loose. I'll give you a peek inside and show you how we pull that out. And then I'll work on getting these this sway bar mounts pulled down, and then we'll get the module out of there. So after doing all of this, there's a lot more work that needs to be done to get this liner out. So I've got just enough of an opening that I can see inside. So what I've decided to do is to go inside here, and I've attached a piece of stiff wire, some wire, to the pull cable, so that when all I'm going to do now is just pull it down from the outside, and this will stay inside the car, because I put a bend in it. That'll stay inside the car. And so when I'm putting the new cable back in, I'm just going to attach it to this wire and pull it back up again. That way I don't have to take all that stuff out. I mean, in theory, it may be possible you don't even have to undo the liner at all. You can just pull it out and then pull it back in again. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so this is the left rear corner of the car, and this here is the cable. So, and it does, there's a clip up here where it clips in. Oh geez, thought this would be easy. Cable, and then it's coming, but it's like, I wonder if there's another clip up there. That would be a pain in the butt. Let's see, I can push this out. Put the light inside here. Maybe you guys can see. Yeah, there's another clip up there. I don't know if you can see it, but right at where that cable is, it's attached to a clip, and that's why when I pull on it, it's not coming out. So I'm going to get up there with my hand and pull it out of the clip. Well, it was a clip. I had to pull down to get it out, and now I just pull this out, and there's our wire. Disconnect our wire and then let that hang, and I'll reconnect it later. There we go. I suppose if you had already pulled this out, you could, well, I guess I'm going to see, because I pulled it too far. You can fish it down from the top and then reconnect it to the new cable. So, all right. So I think there's one more clip holding this cable, and it's over here. Where it's right here. Yeah, right there. So pull it out, and right in here, use my handy trim tool, and there we go. So that's off. So all I got left to do is lower this sway bar, and we can take the module out. Alright, so I've got the sway bar loosened and hanging down. So the next thing to do is release this. So what I'm going to do is put a small screwdriver here, reach up, push the button in the center, and just pry up a little bit with the screwdriver. And then it should be in the released position. And then I can grab it with my finger and rotate it, lift it up, and that should release the electrical connection, and then you just want to take a look inside the electrical connection to make sure there's no corrosion. If it's good, just put it aside. If it's corroded, you're going to have a different problem. You may have to sort that out. There's some stuff you can spray on it. That'll help dissolve the corrosion. And there we go. So now I've got this down and I can move this around a little bit, and I think I can get the module now out, hopefully on this side and down. So I'm going to, as I said before, what I'm going to do is remove the bolts holding the module to the bracket. And the reason why I'm doing that is with the way this is really tight on the on this M version, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it out all in one. So to prep it, I got to pull the cables through, make sure they're hanging straight down. I'll show you that in a minute. So there we've got the new one and the old one, and as you can see, they're identical. And I've looked at the connectors. The connectors are identical. It looks like the cables and everything are fine. This is a Euro. Obviously what came out is a BMW. So I'm going to take this bracket off and get the start by getting the module in. Now I didn't film removing the module from the car, but I'll show you putting it in, and that'll give you an idea how to take it out. Well, I'm hoping you guys can see well enough. I've got the module here with the angle mounting plate removed, and I'm going to take the side with one cable and pass that cable in and over. The spot here is, there's, you know, if you have an M, it has these lines. You have to go sort of underneath the bracket and on the forward side of the hydraulic lines, and then we put that through, and we're feeding the cable through, and try and get it so that it goes through. Not hanging up anything. Alright, so just had to give the sway bar a little push forward to get it in, and you want to have the mounting tabs, which will be down, facing the back of the car. And then once again, the cable hooks up on something. And the module is now in the space that it's supposed to be in. Alright, so I'm fairly certain that the little rubber washer that goes on the mount on the upper control arm, or the subframe, I should say, just near the upper control arm, is what's hanging up. So I need to get over here so I can lift it over. And get it in place. Rotate this to the right orientation. Okay, I think I'm okay as far as that is concerned. Oh crap. Well, there's a brake line that goes across, and you got to go under the brake line. I've gone over the brake line, so I got to pull this back out. I'll show you. Right in
right in there. Yeah, that cable has to go under the brake line so it can be clipped in. So that was what was hanging me up. So I'm going to reinsert it, and then we'll do the other side. All right, so I now have the cable in the right location on the right side. That's the side with one cable, and now I've pushed the module as far over as I can, and that's going to give me an opportunity now to feed the other cable over the other side, and then when that's in, then we'll deal with the emergency release cable. So again, it's almost impossible to show you, so you just kind of have to trust me, and I'll do a sort of wind up as I show how it clips in and stuff. So the cables to the wheels are run, and the module is just sort of hanging there, and it will orient itself sort of like this. But first we're going to install the bracket that it mounts to. So normally if you have a normal X5, it's not an M, you can do it all in one. But with this thing, you need to be able to get this piece in separately. And I'm going to put the 3 bolts in that mounted to the subframe, and then install the module into the top of it. So stand by. You should be able to see now I've got one of the bolts started, and you can see the module's in position, but I just haven't put the screws in holding it to the bracket. So I'll get the rest of these screws in. Those are 13mm bolts that hold the bracket to the subframe, and then there are 10mm screws to go into the plastic in the module. So to get to these screws, I'm using a long extension 10mm bit and a thumb ratchet, because I don't need a lot of torque. The alignment's not perfect, exhaust gets in the way, so that's why I'm using the wobble extension. And there we go. Just got to get the one on the other side, and that'll be done. So this is the tough part, and I'm not too sure if I can do it with one hand, but get the cable end in the hole, and then push the cable in. Get this to the cable, should go in, line up in the bore. Just again, can't do this and shoot at the same time, but you get the idea. All right, so I've got the cable pushed through from the back, and the little retainer put on, and then if you can just get the screwdriver in there, and then it goes, and just give it a little pry, and if you can see now it's down below. Now it's captured, so that's good. That's what we're looking for there, is to get it down. So all right, so that's 2 sides in. We just got to do the emergency release and clean up the stuff, plug it back in. So I've refished that cable, and there it is hanging right there, and here's the end. So we're going to just hook these up, and then we'll pull it through. Ah!
Well, you know what they say, if first you do not succeed, get a longer piece of wire and try again. So, now if we could just get it to clip in, we'd be all set. But it doesn't seem to want to clip in easy. Well, it took some wrangling, but it's in. I had to get I used a pick tool to pick these out because I was pulling up and it wasn't springing up. So, but I was able to get them latched in. You can see it's latched in. Release works. We're all set.
All right, so we've got both rotors and brake pads back on, cables all in. So now we can plug the unit back in, or plug in the new unit. So to do that, you get the connector, push it on, and then there's this little latch. You can see right there how the light keeps getting in the way, and you push that all the way over until it clicks, and there's a little latch there. It clicks. Once it's clicked in, we're good to go.
So we're now all plugged in. So let's go look at the instructions, which there's some specifics with this Euro unit. All right, so it has the steps, and we've just done step 4, which connect the power wire, and now we're going to put the wheels on, lower the vehicle to the ground, press the brake pedal, start the engine, and try the. If it doesn't, we still have a code, we need to clear the code, but it says do not attempt to reprogram unit, and I think what happens is that it's pre-programmed and it's designed to work in the other one's place without programming. If you try to program it, you basically brick it and it's yours. So we're not going to do that. So let's go get this on the ground.
Well, plugged it in, put the car down, followed the instructions, started the car, and put the foot on the brake and set the handbrake. It worked fine. Code cleared itself. No further issues. So it's as advertised. No programming required. Simple fix. A lot less money involved than taking it to the dealer, which the part was more than double, and it was a significant amount of labor. And I know why, because it took me 6 hours to do this. You don't see that on the video, but it was a pretty tough slug. Certain things just were finicky and difficult to do. So, but got it all done. I'm sure my buddy's going to be pretty happy about the whole thing. So I want to thank you for watching Gary's Garage. We're just coming up on 1,000 subscribers. So if you could help me out and subscribe to the video, to the channel, I'd appreciate it. And if you like what you saw, click on the like. I like hearing comments. So if you thought I could have done something different or save a little bit of time, please chime in. Let me know, or send me your comments. I appreciate it. If it's a question, I'll try and answer it. I can't answer all questions, but I'll do what I can. And thanks again for watching Gary's Garage.